What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to From The Bench Vols. I'm your host, Will Meadows, and welcome to our Wednesday edition of the show, where we have strictly football to talk about once again. When I saw you guys last time on Friday, we continued with our position group spotlight series, where we talked about the running back group, the running back room, and how that running game is going to shape up heading into next year. We're going to continue with that series and stay on the offensive side of the football today and talk about this very unexperienced, a lot of new faces in this receiver room, get you guys up to date on some of the guys you are going to see in that checkerboard this year. But before we get into any of that, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, leave a like, leave a comment, do whatever you would like with it. And again, I said it on the last one and the one before that, and I'll say it every other episode if I have to. Again, I'm so grateful for all the love that we have been getting on this channel as of late. This is a pre-recorded video, so if anything has happened significant, I will be at the beach, but I still wanted to get an episode out for you guys. So if you are new, we have a lot of new subscribers in terms of this channel, about 80 of you guys. So, kind of clap it up for you guys. That's not that many, but for mine, it is. Again, whether I'm talking to 15 of you guys or 1,500 of you guys, I'm very grateful for it all. The fact that you guys are starting your morning off with me on a Wednesday, a Friday, or just watching it whenever, you know what I mean. I appreciate every single one of you guys for joining in. If you're new, again, it is Wednesday and Friday that we drop episodes, so make sure you guys tune into those and make those part of your weekly routine. So let's get right into it. Like I said, we are going to be talking about those guys that are going to catch the balls from, that sounded odd, catch touchdowns, let's call it that, from a George McIntyre, maybe not, from a Jake Merklinger, from a Joey Aguilar, because it's a lot of new faces, man. Brew McCoy's obviously gone, Squirrel White's gone, Dante Thornton's gone, everybody seems to be gone. The only returning pass catcher seems to be Chris Brazell and Miles Kitselman. We're not going to talk about Miles Kitselman today because that'll be for the tight ends group, but we're going to talk about those receivers. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half, 6 guys that we will be talking about today, and we'll start it off with, personally, my first or second favorite player on the team. I'm sure you guys, if you're a regular on this show, you know what I'm talking about. Mike Matthews will be a sophomore this year, the 6'1", 195-pound receiver. In my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion, will be that wide receiver one, that guy for this year's offense for the Tennessee Volunteers. Was a 5-star, very highly touted recruit coming out of last year's recruiting class. Again, he was a freshman, true freshman last year, got some run, will be a true sophomore this year, and just got not a horrible freshman year, especially in terms of Josh Heupel's receivers. It's not like we've seen a lot of freshmen come out and put up big numbers. I mean, obviously Squirrel White had somewhat of a freshman year, but not a lot of freshman receivers have seen the spotlight in this Josh Heupel offense. Mike Matthews got a little bit of run, and especially with last year, man, where Ryan Williams, Ryan Wingo, obviously Jeremiah Smith, the freshman receivers around the country, Mike Matthews just didn't get a lot of love. Over here on From The Bench Vols, Mike Matthews gets all the love, even though Jeremiah Smith and all them great players, even though Ryan Williams got locked up by Jermon McCoy, Mike Matthews gets all the love here. Had an interesting spring. Again, a lot of guys, once we saw Brew and Dante Thornton and Squirrel White, all of these guys be gone, you're starting to think, oh, wow, your 5-star recruit that you just had showed some signs of life, some signs of being a very good receiver. He'll be your number one guy this year. Mike Matthews enters the transfer portal. In the spring, broke my heart. I remember exactly where I was. I was at Bryce Howard's house. Bryce Howard, OG, my roommate in college. Besides the point, but I just remember where I was at. He enters the portal. You know that he wants a lot more money because that's what it seemed like everything was with the portal, not only for the Vols, but all over the country this year, and that's what college football kind of is now. But you think that, wow, I might lose my number one receiver. It was heartbreaking to a lot of people. Not really, I don't know if I'd go that far, but you get a little worried because you're losing a lot of guys from last year, and that person that you think is going to be the guy says he wants out. He ends up getting his money, I'd assume so, ends up coming back, and he will be the focal point of this offense in the receiving corps, in my opinion. Sorry if you guys hear fireworks. I'm recording this on July 5th, so people are still letting off fireworks. Even the 4th of July was yesterday. So sorry if you guys hear that in advance. But Mike Matthews is just bound to have a big year, in my opinion. I think he's a great route runner, can create, a lot more separation than what we saw last year. Obviously, quarterback was not the best last year. Again, I'm not going to sit on here and say that he was just god-awful, because he wasn't, but definitely left some plays on the field last year. But the receivers didn't help Nico, man. A lot of guys were lacking to create separation, didn't have the best hands, albeit, that's last year. There's a reason that the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror. We're here to talk about why Mike Matthews is going to have a very big year, and I think he's going to be Joey Aguilar's number one guy, or whoever that may be. Again, on the show, we act as if Joey Aguilar is your guy, because I think that's going to be, and I'm tired of playing this hypothetical game. I think he's going to be Joey Aguilar's number one target. I think that second target is going to be Chris Brazzell, the junior, 6'5", 200, so a very towering figure at that receiver position, man. And I think that he can have a very big second year in that orange and white. Kind of an underwhelming year, in my opinion, compared to what he did. Obviously, it's different conferences. You're in the SEC, the best conference in football. But the guy was a stud at Tulane, man. Over 700 yards receiving, showed a lot of bright spots. And he was all right last year. Not bad by any means. Obviously, had a huge catch against Alabama. Was the score that really put us over the top to beat Alabama last year. So had some moments. I think had around 350 receiving yards, something like that. So not a horrible year, but just not kind of what you thought when he was the best receiver that you got out of the transfer portal. But I think that he can have a much better year this year. Another year in this system is always going to help, no matter who you are, what position you're playing. Another year in that system, which is definitely, it's a change from Tulane, the playbook and the competition you're playing, to Tennessee and the playbook and the competition you're playing in the SEC. It's a big jump, man, and so many guys in today's game make that jump so effortlessly in football and in basketball. I mean, there's guys coming from mid-majors and all over the sport where it's just effortlessly, man, and kudos to them. It's not out of the blue for that to happen. We see it, again, in football and in basketball. Chaz Lanier just came from North Florida and killed it, won the Jerry West Award. So obviously a different sport, but you get what I'm saying. Sometimes guys take a little longer to transition up to that next level. It's definitely a big step from Tulane to the Tennessee Volunteers, and I think that he's going to definitely make a big step in the right direction this year, and I think Chris Brazzell is going to be that big body guy that we thought he was going to be last year and be a very good target, especially a deep threat for Joey Aguilar. Just, again, especially with Chris Brazzell, I can think of a few against Alabama, even though he did have the big catch, but just a few plays that were left on the field, man, and that's a little bit of his fault, a little bit of Nico's fault, just things that didn't line up the correct way. So I think that Chris Brazzell is up for a big year, and before I keep talking about these other guys, man, this Tennessee receiving core is just so, in my opinion, underrated, and I'm going to say that as a Tennessee fan, and just like I said it about the running backs, but so many people around the country just think that this receiving core is no good. They see that you lose Brood. They see you lose Dante Thornton. They see you lose Squirrel White. And a lot of the world still thinks Squirrel White is a good receiver. No, he's not. I'm not going to talk about it too much. Y'all know how I felt about him during the year. Squirrel White was not good at football last year. I'm sorry, but he just wasn't. So, the national media and people that don't follow Tennessee day in and day out, or fans of Tennessee, think, oh, wow, they lost this name, and this name, who played a lot of snaps for them. They must be done for. Well, there's a lot of talent behind these guys, and Chris Brazzell's a returner. We've got Mike Matthews, who's a somewhat of a returner, the second most experienced guy at the position, which is kind of horrible. Not horrible, but it's just a lot of new faces, and a lot of new numbers are going to be in that checkerboard this year, and I'm excited for it. I think these guys are great athletes, going to be great receivers, and in my opinion, as bad as this sounds, I don't think it can get worse than it was last year. Obviously, Dante Thornton was good enough to be, a second or third round pick? I don't remember what he was. Fourth? I'm sorry, I don't remember what it was. It definitely was a second. I think it was a fourth round pick. But was one of the best deep threats in all the SEC last year. He just couldn't stay healthy, man. Brew McCoy couldn't. Nobody could bring that man down in an open field, but he couldn't get open. Squirrel White catches with his body like a 12-year-old. I've never seen anything like it. Could have 30 yards of green grass in front of him, and he's going to catch it with his body and fall. I'm not even going to get my blood pressure rising on talking about Squirrel White right now. Hope he has a good year at FSU, I guess. But just a lot of guys who weren't the best last year, and I don't know, it's only up from here, is what I'm trying to say. So the third guy that we're going to talk about, who's also going to be one of your bigger targets, in my opinion, not bigger in terms of stature, but a guy that I think can make a lot of plays for the Vols next year is Braylon Staley, the redshirt freshman. had a really good spring last year as a freshman. Thought that he'd get some run along with Mike Matthews. Battled an injury throughout the end of spring last year, to the start of the year in the summer as well, and just never could get started right on the right foot. And has had a great spring this year. Picked up right where he left off in spring practice, and I think he is bound to have a very big year this year. A very smooth athlete, a smooth route runner, a very fluid receiver. It sounds kind of weird to call it fluid, but if you know what it is when you see it, if you know what I mean. And I think Braylon Staley is going to be a very, very fluid and very good receiver in this Josh Heupel in this Josh Heupel offense next year. And I think that, again, he's going to be a very good target for Joey Aguilar. And this is where we get into, we were talking about some new faces, but this is where we get into guys that are brand new to the roster in general. You may have seen them in the orange and white game, but that's it. Travis Smith Jr., the true freshman, 6'4", 200, big body, a great athlete from Atlanta, Georgia. Was a very highly ranked recruit. I was like top 150. Had offers from everywhere in the country, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, you name it, and that team wanted him there. And for a very good reason. A very good athlete, like I said, I said fluid for Braylon Staley. It's a little different fluid because 6'4", 200 is a lot bigger than 6', 190 that Braylon Staley is. I think he has all the tools to be a very good receiver in this deep ball-based, play-action-based offense. And like I said, there hasn't been a lot of freshmen get the love and the shine in this Tennessee offense, and this year it's going to have to be. Because I just listed 3 receivers. It's a sophomore, a junior, and a redshirt freshman. So these new faces, these babies are going to have to get in there and make some plays, and I think Travis Smith can do just that. Again, a very highly touted recruit. I think he has all the tools to be very, very good in this Josh Heupel offense. And then a very interesting one here, because I know he was kind of the talk of the town. Well, it was hard to be the talk of the town in this time because it was when the Nico stuff was happening. But Redarius Jackson, another true freshman, had 3 touchdowns in the orange and white game, 6'2", 185 from Memphis, Tennessee. He's an in-state guy. Had an incredible spring game, made incredible catches. Was just very good. And granted, he's playing against lesser competition, guys who are lower down on the depth chart within his own roster. So, when you start playing starting DBs at the University of Georgia, it's going to be a little different. He's going to have to adjust, just like we were talking about with Chris Brazell. There's definitely going to be an adjusting period. But he has all the tools. He's came right in and just got to work, man. All the talk is about these new faces. If Mike Matthews is going to be the receiver 1, Travis Smith was such a highly touted recruit, and rightfully so. But Redarius Jackson got in, got to work, and we saw he reaped the benefits in the spring game, and I think he can do just the same. Because I say all these names, and you might be thinking, oh, well, they're not going to have much of an impact. These Josh Heupel offenses, man, they run a lot of receivers. And it's a lot of substitutions. It's a lot of, all right, you just ran 50 yards on a deep post and didn't even get looked at on the play. Now run 50 yards back and line up again because we're running a play in 4 seconds. So it's definitely, depth is key for this receiver position in this Tennessee offense. And is there a lot of it this year? To the national media, no. There's a lot of new faces. So in reality, you could probably say no. But I think these guys have all the tools. I keep saying all the tools. Have all of what it takes to make it work. And I think Redarius Jackson, again, there's going to be a transition period. It's going to be tough to be a true freshman. It's not normal. It almost got normalized last year for a true freshman in the SEC to just come in and kill it, man. Jeremiah Smith is not in the SEC, but he goes to Ohio State and killed every SEC team that he saw. He killed Jermon McCoy, my boy. I said it on the last episode, Jermon McCoy, my boy. But Jeremiah Smith is different. Ryan Williams killed it in the SEC last year. Ryan Wingo was a very good piece to a very good Texas team. It's not normal to just be a freshman and come in and kill it like that, man. And it almost got normalized like that last year. It's not. But if anybody can do it, I probably sound like the biggest Tennessee homer ever. I think Travis Smith and Redarius Jackson can, and whether they can or not, they're almost going to be forced to. That's why I think that they're going to be able to. It's because they don't really have a choice. They have to be good because they're going to see very meaningful snaps next year. The depth is all but not there, and these guys are going to have to play. So Whether they're good or not, you're going to see these guys on Saturdays. So you better get used to knowing the names Travis Smith Jr. and Rodarius Jackson. And then the sixth and final one, a very loved player here on From the Bench Vols, is also one of the best players on defense. Boo Carter, one of the best players on defense. And he's playing two ways this year. Another guy who entered the portal, or was about to enter the portal, did not, for more money, but he wants to play both ways. And Josh Heupel, any other year, I don't know if he would have let him. But in a year where they are struggling and lacking at the receiver position with depth, I'd line up Boo back there wherever he'd like, because he is an incredible athlete. He was an athlete coming out of high school, played offense in high school, which a lot of these guys do. But he was getting recruited at both positions. He's going to be a guy that you may not say, all right, Boo, go run a post corner for me out there on the ice outside. But it is a guy that you say, hey, Boo, come get this jet sweep, because he is just an explosive athlete, and that's the kind of guy that he is, a smaller guy, our smallest receiver by far. We just listed, 6'4", 6'2", 6'5", so some big bodies out there in orange and white this year at the receiver position. Boo Carter's a little smaller, but he gives you a lot of a bang for your buck. A smaller guy, but we've seen him every Saturday, man, just make big plays. It's just a big play guy, whether it's on the offensive side, the defensive side, whether it's a touchdown, whether it's a big hit, or just a first down. Boo Carter is going to make plays regardless. So, the receiver position as a whole. So we've talked about our six guys that are going to truly make up this receiving core next year. Now let's talk about them as a whole. And this is going to turn into a Joey Aguilar ramble session in a way. It's not, all right, who is going to be Joey Aguilar's favorite target? And it is kind of, but it's also going to be who can help Joey Aguilar out the most. Because, again, we picked up a guy off the side of the road that played in the Sun Belt last year who you never would have thought would have been the quarterback of the University of Tennessee. I'm sorry, that's what it is, bluntly. Who is going to help Joey Aguilar look better? And again, we've talked about it a lot on this show. This offense is going to help Joey Aguilar. It's very quarterback friendly in my opinion. You still got to be good. I'm not saying that it makes up what a quarterback is, but it definitely helps. It's so, all right, read this, get the ball out. It's RPO, and again, we talked about it with the running backs. If the running game can get open, it's going to make, if Deshaun Bishop, Peyton Lewis, and Star Thomas are good football players this year, that automatically makes Mike Matthews, Chris Brazzell, Braylon Staley, Travis Smith Jr., Rodarius Jackson, and Boo Carter better football players. If this running game can get established early in games, and I feel like I say that a lot, if the running game is as good as it was, even a fraction of how good it was last year, it's going to help these guys out tremendously, because this offense is so play-action based. It's so, all right, let's beat them down with the run and just let a deep ball go. You got to be able to run the football on any team, but especially in this offense. And if they can run the football, I can guarantee you that you're going to see Joey Aguilar rip one 45 yards down the field to Braylon Staley for a touchdown. It's such a domino effect, and we talked a lot about that on the last show, man. The offense is just, it does in every team sport. That's how team sports work. But not as much as it does in Josh Heupel's offense. It just feels different, man. The receivers in the pass game are so reliant on the running backs and the running game and the offensive line. It's ridiculous. And it is normally. It was with Hendon Hooker here. And let me tell you, it will be all the more important. I don't think that's how you say that saying. But it will be so important and such a key contributing factor to the success of Joey Aguilar, a guy who you picked up from App State. A guy who, when you look up SEC quarterback rankings, Joey Aguilar is 16th on all of them. 15th, 14th. There's not a lot of guys that the national media has Joey Aguilar over. And, maybe a Zach Calzada, but that's about it. So, it's the receivers, I'll give it, we gave a grade on the last one. We gave an A- to the running backs. And a lot of people said that was generous. I give this a B. A B or a B-. I'm the biggest Mike Matthews fan there is out there. I think he's going to be an incredible football player. I think he's going to put the country on notice this year. But the depth does scare me a little bit. because realistically you have 5 receivers. Boo Carter's playing both ways. He's not gonna be just an option for you if Tennessee gets the ball driven down their throat and Boo Carter just played 20 snaps. He's not going to be ready to just, all right, let me return this kickoff, because he does that, and then let me go line up there and play slot and run a slant and get plastered across the middle. It's just not going to work like that. So you realistically have 5 real receivers, and 3 of them are freshmen, 2 of them are true freshmen. So take that as you will. Again, I think that these guys have all the talent in the world, and they can make it work, but it's going to be tough, man. And Joey Aguilar is going to have to play some good football. And it really all stems from that run game, man. That's why I wanted to talk about that running game so badly on our last episode. And I appreciate you guys for all the love you gave me on that episode. But the running game is just so crucial in Josh Heupel's offense. And with a new quarterback and new faces at that receiver position, it's never been more important. So I give it a B-. That's my final. I said B. I'll give it a B- for the receiver position group grade. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think they can make it work. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, but we don't want it easy, man. We're all Vol. We want it the hard way. We are the most underrated team in the country starting now. It has been that way since we got Joey Aguilar. A lot of people are sleeping on these guys. A lot of them are going to put the country on notice, in my humble opinion, this year. Again, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Who you guys think is going to be the best receiver on the team this year, and who are you most excited to see in that checkerboard next year? I think there's going to be a lot of different answers to that. A lot of people obviously love Boo Carter. You could say Rodarius Jackson after we saw him kill it in the spring game. You guys let me know in the comments, and I appreciate you guys for joining in on this episode, our Wednesday edition of From the Bench Vols. I will see you guys on Friday. I hope everybody had a good 4th of July last weekend. I guess I'm recording this on the 5th, so it'll be a while. I'll see you guys. This will come out on Wednesday. But I hope everybody had a good 4th of July. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Wednesday. Thank you for choosing From the Bench Vols to start your day or continue your day or end your day whenever you are watching this. I appreciate you guys for joining in, and I'll see you on Friday. Go Vols.